Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Welcome to Money Radio. It's reaching you on Leadership Television. Incidentally, it's our first edition of the year. My name is Winifred Webo. With me in the studio, as usual, is an in-house analyst, Kingsley Alu. Kingsley Alu is the editor of National Economic Leadership Sister Publication. Welcome once again. Happy New Year.
Same to you.
How's the festive period?
Very beautiful.
It's good to have you in the studio. Yes, on Money Radio this Monday, we are going to be reviewing the cover stories on National Economic. What National Economic is saying this week is actually a weekly paper now, and it comes out with in-depth analysis of the economy. Let's see what National Economic has on its cover. This Monday, 9th January 2023. Incidentally, the days is also flying by. Today is 9th of January.
Yes. It's quite unlike January.
Let's see what January is. Sorry, I said January. What National Economy is saying. National Economy's cover story says 2023 elections. What hope for Nigeria's unresolved economic challenges? 2023 elections. What hope for Nigeria's unresolved economic challenges? Nigeria's transition opportunity for a fresh start. Nigeria's transition opportunity for a fresh start. And on the cover of the National Economy, we have other stories. Beneath the stories, we have the three leading contending candidates of the APC, the ruling party, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We have the Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, and the PDP presidential candidate as well, Atiku Abubakar. We also have President Muhammadu Buhari on the cover picture. We have debt, we have inflation. These are lending credit support to the leading story. What hope for Nigeria's unresolved economic challenges? Okay, what hope?
Yeah,
Last week papers were awash with the report that the present government is leaving a debt of 77 trillion naira for the incoming administration, and that is what you have as part of your story.
Yes,
it's quite much.
It's huge. Yes, it's huge. It's huge. You remember before the advent of this administration, there were talks that if this present regime came on board, things would take shape.
Yes.
It never really happened because there were promises up to now. Government has not been able to keep the issue of that they will fix infrastructure. For instance, they will look at the exchange rate. They will make sure the value of naira is almost at par with the dollar. They also were looking at the issue of energy cost. These things actually they have not been able, much as one could rightly say that in the last possibly almost 7.5 years, government have also been making effort to see, for instance, the petroleum industry bill, at least to make sure that they reform the oil and the gas sector. But then that has not also really
exactly. That's what I was going to chip in and say that even with all the hype surrounding the petroleum industry act, it has not been able to do so much in the oil industry. Talking about transparency, talking about subsidy and all whatnot.
Yes, that downstream petroleum sector is a really huge problem. And if you remember, there were issues of the theft, oil theft.
Yes, and also the oil theft.
Oil theft. Initially, it was, but they were passing box. But by the time they appointed Tom Polo, and he started, coming up with some revelations, it was discovered that also some insiders in government also were also part and parcel of the racket that were actually siphoning, bunkering the oil, because there were incidences where we were told that the vessels, for instance, some of the vessels were told that comes to that Niger Delta waters to carry oil. Some of them are even bigger than NPC towers, as in size.
And that also asks us the next question: how safe is Nigerians' waters? Because a situation whereby a ship as big as that could actually be on waterways,
for 7 days.
Navy said they cannot.
For 7 good days. 7 good days. They said these vessels will just bet there for 7 good days. They are taking the oil. 7 good days. 7 good days. And when they are even leaving, they move at a very snail speed. Keke is even faster than them because of the size and the quantum of oil they are carrying. So there's need. So these were things government said at the onset that they are going to tackle. Oil theft.
But it became worse.
It became worse.
Because at the end of the day, about half of Nigeria's quota was being stolen away that Nigeria could not meet.
Of course, and between the month of July and August of just last year, Nigeria was only able to produce less than 1 million barrels per day. Less than 1 million barrels per day. This is even like official figure they are giving you. But I'm sure if you even probe further, you will even discover that the country may not have been able to produce even up to 400,000 barrels per day. This one, they will just give you this, to calm you.
Apart from, we are looking at it sector by sector. Apart from, we're also having issue of, transparency in the sense that Nigerians up to now, after many years of oil, investing in oil and all whatnot, we cannot really tell how much liters of fuel Nigerians consume per day.
Yeah, it's part of the corruption. It's part of the corruption. And this administration has failed woefully in that point.
But is it so difficult to track?
It's not difficult. It just requires willpower. It's not difficult. They know who are, as I'm telling you.
Perhaps disclosing the amount Nigerians consume will actually put a torchlight on.
Yeah,
on
and they will not tell you.
They
will never tell you. They will never disclose that to you.
Even if you hold the gun to their head.
Even if you put the gun to their head, they will never disclose that to you. Because they know that among a certain section of the society, there are people that are intelligent, people that are good with arithmetic and statistics, who can prove what you are giving them.
Okay. Now, on the issue of subsidy too, we also make to understand that NNPC is actually the one that is importing these crude refined. Then how come you're still paying? Who are you then paying? Is NNPC paying the subsidy to itself?
That is why, this incoming regime has to really look at how they can further deepen.
Because there's so much mystery, there's so much mystery or shrouded. It's so shrouded in secrecy that one does not really know what is happening. Because before the present administration came on board, they said subsidy was a scam and that it wasn't going to continue with subsidy. We've had situations whereby incoming president will always say that no, subsidy is a scam. We are not going to continue with it. They come on board and they still keep paying the subsidy. Is it that they've not been able to understand the system, how this subsidy is actually working?
They understood everything, just that, like we said,
because at the end of the day, they still continue paying the subsidy.
They will continue paying. So the only way to end it is to do away with subsidy. That's the only way.
But don't you think people saying they should do away with subsidy and we don't have refinery on ground? What will now happen to the common Nigerians? Well,
the truth of the matter is that even with the subsidy on ground, how many have you gone to the filling stations? If you go there, discover that people are empty, and even people are queuing up. You can't get fuel anywhere. And how much are you even buying a liter of fuel now? Do you understand me? So, government has not been able to tackle this. Not to talk of the energy, rising energy costs. We're not doing anything about it. Then what of depleting foreign reserves? Government said they will do something. How much did they meet on ground? How much are they?
I think before the present administration came on board, we had about 179 to $1.
Yeah.
180.
187 to $1.
To $1.
Yes.
And now, what situation do we have?
It's almost 800 now.
So how you talk about what hope for Nigeria's unresolved economic challenges.
Yes.
What hope for the incoming administration? Because it's a situation whereby they have to tackle with bringing these forest.
That again calls for the need to make sure that we just vote the right person there. We don't just have to look at people and faces and all the noise and the lies they are telling us. We just have to look at the antecedents. It has to be somebody that's above board in corruption. Because if you're not above board in corruption, you can't tackle all this.
Because if you look at it, the present administration has just barely 5 months for about to go. So how are they going to resolve these economic challenges? We have this debt.
No, it's no longer for them even to resolve. That's the gospel truth. It's no longer for them. It's about the next incoming regime inheriting these problems. But then, whether they will go away or not depends on who we elect into office. That's very, very important. it is, in fact, is the most determining factor now. Whether we will live with these problems, carry them over to 2023, compound them in 2023, then complicate them in 2024, it depends on who will decide that they will lead us. And we have 3 candidates there. Look at their track records. Let's forget about what their spin doctors are saying. We are not interested. Look at their track records. When they were in office, what did they do? Let's look at how prudent they were.
But these candidates are also priding on doing so many having so many achievements while they were in office.
Well, I think it's for the electorate
to
decide.
And what if happens that the electorate decides on the one that could not perform at the end of the day? So what happens? You have to.
I don't think
wait it out until. 4 years.
I think that this time around Nigerians are serious. Yeah, if you notice the trend now, people are taking the issue of voting more seriously. They are picking their PVCs, all things being equal, because they don't want us to continue like this. Nobody's enjoying what is happening now. Look at the issue of unemployment. Look at the NBA statistics last year. Towards the end of last year, 123 million, 33 million now has joined the poverty basket. 133 million people. These are ordinarily people that should be breadwinners, fending for themselves and for every people around them. But right now, it is not happening. So we need a new regime that will come on board. First of all, look at this, how they can, reform this oil and gas sector. Fix power. Prioritize infrastructure financing. These things are very, very important. If you are not able to fix power, reform, deepen the reforms in the oil and gas sector, even consolidating the power sector reforms. Because so far, so good, at least in that sector, we've seen some mileage, But government
power.
Yes, power. Yeah.
But there's not the power. If anything, the power has actually dropped, because there was a report that I saw that the power supply is fluctuating between about 3,500 megawatts to 4,000.
Yeah, but there have been,
been 4,000.
Yes, but there have been some reforms now.
Yes, there have been some reforms, but we have not started. The reforms are started impacting on.
That is why that's why I said government, they need to again deepen the reforms in the power sector. By way of the tariff, by way of the metering.
Tariff is high.
Yes.
Just increase tariff.
Yes, by way of tariff. Yeah, they need to. These are things they have to look at now.
And there are still so many houses that are unmetered. About how many millions?
Yeah. Yeah. So by way of tariff, metering, and generally deepening the whole energy mix. This is where this incoming has to step in.
The energy sector is actually crucial to the
economy. If you must create an enabling environment for investors to come in,
you must because you have, it's all these ones. We are talking about fuel, we are talking about diesel. So many people are relying on diesel.
Yes.
And diesel is expensive.
It's very, very expensive.
About 900 now.
Of course. So this is what the incoming regime should be looking at now. And then, of course, you look at also this.
But don't you think that is somehow from what the candidates have been saying?
Yes.
It all still boils down to rhetoric. This one say, "I'll come in, I'll do this, I'll do that." But at the end of the day, we've not really had the kind of.
I think while I may not mention names, here. But I've been able to single out one out of the 3 candidates and able to come up with a very solid blueprint. The rest of them is just the usual gibberish they were mouthing all the while, campaign ground, you can say no manner, without showing us how do we get to this ground. Only one, I've studied their manifestos, only one stood out. I don't want to mention the names, but we're looking at these ones they have been able to engage with the people, defend their manifesto, showing us this is the way to go. If we make mistake, it's no longer 2023 is not 2015. Things are a lot worse now. Look at rising inflation. If we elect the wrong person, it's gonna get worse. It's not going to get any better at all. It's not. Look at the foreign our reserve now. It's almost as good as it has hit rock bottom. So
And
this,
look at the budget that was just passed. It's all about deficit.
it's about deficit.
About it was 22 trillion.
Yes.
Plus, at the end of the day, we have only revenue of about 9 million.
They even have to review the
revenue
budget.
is about 9 million.
Yes, even the process and the method has to be reviewed again. So this is what the incoming government has to start looking at.
Yes, we are going to tell us more when we come back from our break. As we are going on a short break now. Don't go away, stay tuned. We have so much to talk about on the cover story on national economy. Stay tuned.
Money Radio. Money Radio. Discussing the business of making and spending money.
Welcome back. The program is Money Radio on Leadership Television. We've been discussing national economy's cover story on 2023 elections. What hope for Nigeria's unresolved economic challenges? With me this year has been an in-house analyst, Kingsley Alu. Kingsley Alu, thank you so much once again for being part of the program. And Kingsley is the editor for National Economy. Now, Kingsley, before we went on break, you were telling us about the budget and what the incoming administration is going to tackle.
Yes, I was saying that they need to reform the budget and appropriation process. And again, also they have to look at the cost of governance. Good enough. One of the candidates, one out of the three, has really been hammering on that cost of governance. We need to cut cost of governance. We need to cut cost of governance.
Talk of governance. But,
yes.
But would they allow? Because it's not just the president alone. We also have other gladiators talking about the National Assembly. There's been cry over the packages that they go with at the end of the day, and nothing has been done about it. Even we also have this present administration saying that it was going to cut down on especially the lawmakers. Yes, yeah, even his own too. He said was going to, at the end of the day, we saw a different game altogether. So how do you think that they will carry it?
Well, it's for them, whoever gets on board there, to know how it's going to go about it. But I know one of them has been hammering on that. One of them has been emphasizing and will even be emphasizing on that, the cost of governance. It's part of what has brought us to where we are.
Yes.
Then, of course, we're talking of your rising debt profile, and you are living large like this.
77 trillion.
77 trillion naira. The people don't have conscience. They don't have conscience. So they have to start with cutting that cost of governance. Like we have said, then look at that budget and appropriation process and see how they can also review all these things. If they can do it, then I think we are almost not that it won't be a bad year, it won't be a bad year, but it will be that the regime that is taking over will have these issues to contend with. How it manages it is another thing altogether. But we pray that the right person will just get on board. That's all we need.
Okay. Now, you also talked about inflation, and there are so many factors giving rise to this inflation. How do you think the incoming president, they are going to tackle it?
Of course, you just come up with tweak some policies, economic policies. It's about tweaking some policies. This is not about me or you. It's about the generality of the nation. The people here that are coming up has to be people that understood the workings of the economy. What we have running in the past almost 8 years now is a command economy. Okay?
How is that?
Yeah, this one is not by the books anymore. It's no longer by the books. It's how you, as the one in charge, think it should be done. Do you understand me?
Yes.
But you need to follow a systemic structure that will lead you to what you want to achieve. So if we can even start with that, just tweak some policies. Then that way we'll start looking at also things that have given rise to inflation.
Yes.
And begin to deal with them one after the other. If we can do that, then I think towards the end, or if not by the first quarter of 2024, Nigeria will start breathing again.
2024, but like I always want to say, the governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir, I did say that the incoming administration is going to have a hard time. That 3 years, at least, is going to be a difficult one. Do you subscribe to that?
I don't quite subscribe
At least
to
he
that.
said, at least in the first 3 years.
Okay, look out now. For instance, now, if you have a regime that decided to prioritize, infrastructure financing, look at cost of governance, look at how they can look at the, rising energy costs, look at all these things, look at even the naira, how they can stabilize it and all the rest. If you have this, come on, when we know VP Usibanjo,
Yes.
the times he was in charge of the economy, you saw how the economy things started bouncing again.
Okay.
Do you understand? So it's about initiative and the willpower to execute them. We need somebody who has and then, of course, we have to do away with corrupt people. There are a lot of corrupt government officials that needs to leave the system.
And now that you mentioned it, Kingsley, it's like there are no really tracking system in place to track all these sludge funds, because we have a situation like, for instance, this EFCC. Among those it was prosecuting, it's even an assistant director who had the university, hotels. How did they get access to these funds?
Yeah, they know how they steal the money.
Currently, in fact, this properties was one of those that were auctioned
Of course, they know how they steal the money. Some time ago, I may not mention in one of these agencies, there was even a managing director that was in the saddle for 14 years in this country.
14 years.
14 years, one of the agencies of government, I may not want to mention them. For 14 good years, this man had swear in that place. He had everybody in his pocket. He had the Minister of State in his pocket. He had the members of National Assembly in his pocket.
The administration forgot him. Somebody being the saddle for 14
He doesn't
years.
even like press. He doesn't want to appear.
Because 2 terms or 5 years is about 10 years.
He
so
did
how come
14 years.
14 years.
He did 14 years. He did 14 years. In one of the development finance institutions in this country, he did 14 years. So this is a country where things happen. All you need is just to get some people that will shout and put them in your pocket and be giving them money. So when you hear that a certain director, has so number of property here and there, you are not surprised, because it has to do with colliding with the man at the top. So while the man is stealing, he's also giving you your own.
Yes, because what you said, there's also a pointer to the Accountant General Federation. His tenure was also increased.
Yes.
Was also
extended.
When he was supposed to have been elected.
Yes, and we're even hearing now is entered into plea again. Somebody that should be in jail. Somebody that should be in jail for defrauding us has entered into plea again. You stole this kind of money.
So he will just return some.
Those kind of. This is why the system is weak. It's weak. It's weak. So you need a government that means business.
It's really, really sad. Now talking about economy, I want to ask, what about the issue of security? How does it affect the economy?
It affects everything.
But it's also part of the unresolved.
Yes, of course, it affects everything. It affects everything. Of course, farmers don't go to farms anymore. The roads are no longer safe. And because the roads are no longer safe, it has also added to the cost of transportation by road. Inflation. That's why we come. Then, of course, you look at the air transportation now. Because they know we are stuck. You can't go by the road and feel safe. So you want to come by air. They will also bring the issue of aviation for their own cost of maintenance and add everything there. So it affects everything. Just this weekend, or thereabouts, in Edo, we land. Bandits struck again, kidnap some people. Which investor? Train station. So which investor in his right senses will be reading this kind of thing and come to invest in that kind of environment? So it also affects a lot of things. In fact, it's like a nexus upon which every other thing is revolving right now. Because I need to feel safe in an environment to even think of settling down there. So right now, it is scaring investors. It's scaring investors. So this is also a point that incoming regime must look at holistically. Not pamper some people. In this country, things happen. A bandit leader was banned in Zamfara. in broad daylight, not in under the cover of
And the
darkness.
retired police commissioner was also there.
Yeah,
This event.
everything they were there, clapping for him, cheering. Somebody that has murdered people. So that means we need somebody, a regime that will come on board and say enough of all this trash, because this is an eyesore. You can't come and you are witnessing this and you are trying to convince the man outside, please come or you are safe. The man will be looking at you. Is it not these people that have been terrorizing communities, extorting them, killing, demanding ransom? Is it not their leader that is we are seeing before us now being turbaned and look at everything happen? So people need to gain that confidence again. You have to, government, the incoming regime must at least do everything to win the trust of the people.
Okay, but Kingsley, you sound so optimistic concerning the incoming government, but I'm not so sure, because the situation whereby the incoming government is going to inherit, is going to tackle the issue of security in the first place. And it's not only that, this has 77 trillion, not billion, debt to contend with. He's also having to contend with a hyperinflation in place, reality now in place. So how, you said within 2024?
I say by 2024 we'll start breathing.
No incoming administration have had it this bad. Remember in 2014, the kind of government that was handed over to this incoming, we had a situation whereby it was still about 187 naira. So $1.
Yes.
The economy was stable. It was even alleged to be one of the best then in Africa. That is Nigeria then, according to ratings. And now everything has crippled. What was only the slight problem then was the issue of insecurity. Remember, Boko Haram was doing kidnappings and doing bombings here and there, the kidnap of Chibok girls. Now, presently, 8 years down the line, is a different ballgame altogether. So, how do you expect? Because they are handing over to the incoming government so much. It's like a basket full of problems.
I think that incoming regime has to borrow a leaf from former President Olusegun Obasanjo.
It's just a basket full of problems.
Yeah, for incoming regime has to borrow a leaf from former President.
But it's going to try to bring down the foreign exchange, because there's so much pressure on it.
No.
And I even forgot to add the issue of subsidy. By the time you remove subsidy, it's going to see a whole lot of issues, unemployment and all this stuff. So it's really quite a lot.
It's quite a lot.
Yes. Optimistic.
No.
And here I am looking at you.
No.
Is it going to be by magic?
No, it's not magic there. It's not magic there. That's why I say the incoming regime needs to borrow a leaf from President Olusegun Obasanjo and former President Jonathan. So that they should make sure they have technocrats on board. Under these regimes, we have people like the President African Development Bank.
And they are still going to contend with just what you said. Some civil servants who within them do not share your ideas. They are still going to engage in all this looting and all whatnot.
Well, in the regime of Yar'Adua, any civil servant caught in stealing knows what it means for him. In the days of Ribadu, Nuhu Ribadu, when you hear, what is coming when you decide to pilfer public fund. You know what is coming. What you just need is.
But these people, they don't really get found. Most of them have gone away with their loot and.
I don't think it's true.
Because it's not civil servant. It's not written on their forehead that I'm a thief. I steal money. This is just what I'm trying to say. That the problem is really much.
To get out of the
That's why I keep saying that I agree. My views tally with that of the Kaduna State governor.
It takes 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Let us even consider. Let us even.
For him, as part of the administration, for him to be saying this, he knows also what he has seen.
Well,
he knows what the reality is on ground.
They know. They are part of the problem. They created the problem.
I don't want to say that.
Listen, do you understand? But that's why I said that one, they need this incoming regime we need technocrats. It was what Jonathan did. It was what Obasanjo did. People like Okonjo-Iweala, Akinwumi Adesina, Olusegun Aganga. The list goes on and on. Just don't get politicians. Don't work with politicians. Get technocrats to help you fix this rot. That's the only way out. And by the way, also, even for the incoming president, we don't need a full-fledged politician. We also need people who are experienced in the business sector.
Yes, in business
technocrats. Just put them there. They know what to do. They know what to do. It's about knowing what to do. About refusing to be compromised.
Wow, they are telling us that time is up. We won't be able to look at. But let me just see, apart from the leading story viewers, we still have two other stories. Let me just read them out. At least you can log on to the website for more on the stories. Why banks are suspending international transaction on Naira cards, intensifying war against cybercrime. These are the stories that also make the cover of National Economy Today. For more on the stories, just log on to their website. Well, viewers, this is where we call it a day of whatever time is against us. Please take any word and final word.
No, let's pick our PVC. Go get your PVC. Go out that day and vote. Vote the right candidate. Yes, for the man that will change the economy.
See, we come your way again same time next week. I remember when you for the people. See you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.